person may say, I can see why Tate wants to be in a place where there's fewer law and order versus in a place where there's high law and order, because it doesn't really defend them, doesn't protect them.
That's a really good point of view, and it actually ties in very interesting to another point I want to make, where there's a correlation between people who are free thinkers and people who have opinions which differ from the norm and their testosterone levels. But the higher your testosterone level, the more likely you are to stand up and say something that the group doesn't agree with. The basic premise behind it biologically is you're more prepared to defend your idea. If you stand up against 5 men and say, you're wrong, I believe this, at some point, and especially in history, that can become violent. So if you don't have the capability or at least the bravery to stand up and face the possibility of violence, you're more likely to just comply with the group thing. So they've done a whole bunch of studies that proves somebody who is combative, not in a negative way, but combative as a whole in regards to not physically afraid of having a confrontation, let's say, is more likely to have an independent idea as opposed to somebody who is the complete opposite. They're just pure groupthink because fish swim in schools, right? It's how they protect themselves. So it's an interesting point you have there. And also that can be extrapolated if you look at the political parties of the world, or you look at the different ideas, etc. You can usually look at someone and kind of see their politics. Sometimes you can look at them and go, yeah, I get it, right? So there's a lot, biology is a huge part to play with it. And yeah, I agree with you. And you're totally right. My view, like every other person's view on earth, is biased. And I have a large degree of individualism and a large degree of I can fix this myself. I'll be okay by myself. And that's how I was raised, and that's also my genetic makeup, and you're right. I completely agree with you, and I understand that. And that's why each to their own. I'm not saying everybody should decide to move to Serbia, because you're right, there's mobsters in Serbia that will take advantage of a whole bunch of people completely. But for myself, for my own personal chessboard, that's how I've set up life. And that's why the students who follow me and the kids I talk to, I say, listen, life is extremely difficult as a man. It's very fucking hard. There is no way I can tell you to win unless you're a top tier man. I can't sit here and give you a cheat code that allows you to stay a loser and win. I can only tell you what I've done. I became extremely wealthy. I became extremely capable, became extremely smart. I developed a vast network of individuals that nobody wants to mess with. And I set up a life that makes me difficult to damage. That's what I did. You're saying, how can I comply, stay weak and stay stupid and be safe from tyranny? And I say to you, you can't do that. That's why I teach the tenets I teach. And that's also why I think they find me so threatening, because I'm teaching people to do exactly that. I say, listen, there's no strength of mind or strength of opinion without strength of body. First thing you need to do is go train. Don't care what you think, too small. First thing you need to do is go train. That's number one. If you think 2 + 2 is 4, and I think 2 + 2 is 5, and we're gonna argue this to the end, it's gonna be 5. So you better go do something.
Newsflash, 2 + 2 is 5 now.
That's the reality, but that's the reality of Earth, right? And I teach kids this reality. I teach men this reality. And by even doing basic things like teaching young men to go and be strong physically, I'd like to think we live in a world where that's all seen as a good thing. There are people in the world who sit there and go, wait. Making them physically stronger is going to affect our ability to change the narrative in their minds in real time with our matrix program. That is negative.